Will you stay? I'll stay. When you move, I'll move. I will follow.
Chapter 12. Ecclesiastes chapter 12. Have you ever had a time in your life where you felt like what you just did wasn't worth it? Have you had that feeling before? It's like that feeling like maybe you wasted a bunch of your time or your effort, or maybe like the reward just wasn't worth it. Maybe you studied all night long and you're like ready for this test, only to find out you studied for the wrong material day of. Anyone done that before? Or maybe you spent the last 9 years, over 100 hours, watching a television show only to have the worst ending ever. I am looking at you, How I Met Your Mother. Or maybe it's just like something out of your control. Like maybe like you planned a vacation only for it to like rain the whole week. You're like, man, that was totally not worth it. Well, I can list a bunch of things where I felt like it wasn't worth it. It was kind of meaningless. The reward was absolutely not worth it. I can talk about the time where I went and worked out with some of my friends. We went to a track at CSU East Bay, and as we were returning, I didn't want to get my shirt dirty. So instead of climbing underneath the fence, I climbed over it and ended up with over 5 stitches and a permanent scar on my right hand. Totally not worth it. Or maybe there was that one time when I thought it was like a really good idea to participate in a Spartan race where it's 50 degrees with wind and rain. That was definitely not worth it. Or the time that I decided that it was a really smart idea for me to take a hot wing challenge with some of my friends and family at church, only to find myself hours later curled up in the fetal position in my bathroom floor, begging my wife for a little bit of milk. And that I still will stand to this day. I'm pretty sure that pain was worse than childbirth. I don't care what anybody says. I know it is. It is. It is. Or maybe just recently for me, where I have spent months upon months believing in a product that finally would work out, spent all this time online reading up on it, hearing about how amazing this new offense was going to be, finding out how our quarterback was going to get so much better, me inviting a whole bunch of my friends to my house, only to see the Longhorns get their butt absolutely whipped. And that was clearly not worth my time or effort. That was absolutely the worst. So this morning we are in the book of Ecclesiastes. And as much as I would love to walk through this book with you, because I find this book to be absolutely fascinating, but we just don't have that time, right? So I decided that we're just going to focus at the very end, and then we can kind of recap this whole book. All right, so we are in the book of Ecclesiastes. We're in chapter 12, and we are going to go from verse 8 through verse 14. Now, I know that a lot of times some of us might not know anything about this book. Some of us might know a little bit about it, might think it's like a really pessimistic book, right? And if I were to kind of summarize, let me just kind of give you a background on this book, all right? Let me just give you a little bit of background on this book. So this book was written by King Solomon. King Solomon was King David's son. Now, when King Solomon was younger, God approached him and asked him what he wanted. He's like, you can ask anything from me, and I'll give it to you, right? The only thing you can ask is for more wishes, right? So he goes, you can ask anything from me, and then he's like, what do you want? Like, you want long life? Do you want like wealth? What do you want? And so King Solomon goes, I want wisdom. I want wisdom. So God gives him wisdom and wealth and long life. He gives him everything. And he's like, here you go. I'm just gonna take my blessings and just pour it all over you, right? So this guy was known to be a wise man. A man full of wisdom. Now, wisdom is not just like book smart, like he knew a lot of things. Wisdom is more like he knew how life should be. Right? Like, you know a lot of people that you might know people that are really smart, but make terrible life decisions. Right? So wisdom is a little bit different now. Wisdom is going that he knows God, he knows his word, and he knows how to apply that correctly in our lives. In his own life and other people's lives. So here is King Solomon, and he writes this book. The book of Ecclesiastes. And if I were to kind of summarize this book, and our big picture for this morning, is that what he's trying to say for us today is a life fearing and loving God, which is demonstrated through keeping his commandments. It is not a life lived in vain. A life fearing and loving God is not a life lived in vain. In other words, he's saying, fearing God and loving God, now that is something worthwhile to live for. All right, so let's go ahead and we're going to start. We're in verse 8 of chapter 12. And it says this. It says, vanity of vanities, says the preacher. All is vanity. Besides being wise, the preacher, he's talking about himself, also taught the people knowledge, weighing and studying and arranging many proverbs with great care. The preacher sought to find words of delight, and uprightly he wrote words of truth. The words of the wise are like goads, and like nails firmly fixed are the collected sayings. They are given by one shepherd. My son, beware of anything beyond these. Of making many books, there is no end, and my study is a weariness of the flesh. All right, the first thing we see this morning is, well, actually, let me kind of back up. You might go, what is he talking about, right? What is he talking about? What is all these wise things that he's been teaching? He's kind of summarizing what he's been talking about this whole book. And if you were to summarize what this book is, one of the major, like, kind of key points, themes, he says this over and over again. He says, vanity of vanities. Vanity of vanities. And essentially, I like how the NIV translate this. They translate it as meaningless. Everything is meaningless. Everything is utterly meaningless. And that's kind of like repeated over and over and over again. And he goes and he spends 11 and a half chapters doing this. And he goes, I chased after wealth. I chased after wealth and all these things are meaningless. It's meaningless. I chased after every pleasure underneath the sun. I did not let anything anything that made me feel good. I went after and did it. And he goes, it's meaningless. It's vanity. It's utterly meaningless. He goes, I chased after my work and toil, and I did all of these things, and I kind of poured my life into my work, and I found meaningless, utterly meaningless. I even chased after wisdom and living wisely. He goes, meaningless. It is utterly meaningless. The Hebrew word of this word meaningless or vanity is actually translated as a vapor. It's like something that just comes and gone. All right, it just comes and goes. And that is kind of what he's been harping on in this book. And in between he'll say, do you know what's actually worth it? Fearing God. All right? Fearing God because he's sovereign. Fearing God because of this. Because everything else is meaningless. And he keeps on, he goes, also, you know how life is? He goes, even the righteous sometimes doesn't get what they deserve. And he's talking about at court. He goes, even sometimes when two people go into court, and clearly one person's right, the ruling might not even be in their favor, because sometimes the righteous don't get what they deserve, and sometimes the unrighteous will get things that shouldn't happen. And they get it. And he goes, this is life. Life's not fair. Chasing after things is not fair. And he goes, it is all meaningless. It's all vanity. Vanity of vanities. And that is kind of what he's been harping on this whole book. And we see at the very end, he kind of summarizes in verse 8. Vanity of vanities, says the preacher. All is vanity. And so the point that we can see this morning And as we kind of like see on the opposite side of the New Testament, what we're seeing, so what we can kind of summarize into words of our own is a life chasing anything or anyone other than Jesus will let you down. A life chasing anything or anyone other than Jesus will let you down. That's the next slide over. And we see him, and he brings up this man, and just real quick, when in verse 11, when he talks about the one shepherd, that one shepherd, it's actually talking about the Messiah. And for us, we know that what he did not know is that is actually Jesus. And so he makes these things, and so that's kind of like what his whole thing is in the book of Ecclesiastes. Living life and chasing anything or anyone other than Jesus, it is utterly meaningless. And he goes, I get it. Or you might read, like, what are these goads and these nails? You know what goads are? It's like these long sticks with like, I don't even know, like, sharp end. And it's supposed to like get animals, like cattle, to where they're supposed to be going, so you're like, poking them, right? And he's kind of like prodding them to make sure that they're not like going off. And he's going, I get it, right? Like these words, they hurt. I'm trying to get you in the right direction. He's like prodding us. It's like they're like goads. These words are trying to get you in the right direction. He goes, it's hard. I get it. It's hard to hear this. It is painful. And just kind of really quick, and I say just from the very beginning in chapter 1, verse 2, it says, vanity of vanities, says the preacher. Vanity of vanities, all is vanity. What? I mean, that's hard to hear. For chapter 3, verse 19. For what happens to the children of man? What happens to the beast is the same. As one dies, so dies the other. They all have the same breath, and man has no advantage over the beast, for all is vanity. Saying, man and beast and animals, we all die. That's not something happening here, right? Chapter 7, verse 20. Surely there is not a righteous man on earth who does good and never sins. Surely there is not a righteous man on earth who does good and never sins in God. That is not easy to swallow. That is not easy to swallow. And that's kind of what I want us to do. It's so simple. I just want to harp on this because life chasing anything or anyone other than Jesus is going to let you down. It is so incredibly meaningless. He takes these ideas that we have in today's society, like you only live once, so kind of live it up, carpe diem, and gives this idea that we have, and so like, the benefits don't last. Chasing after things and chasing after relationships and people, it does not last. I remember meeting up with a student many years ago. And this particular person was absolutely, like he was talented. He was absolutely talented. I felt like almost anything that he put his mind to, he succeeded at. And he was so good at doing so many different things. But when you are so good at doing so many different things, having a whole bunch of hobbies that you're really good at, it's pretty expensive, right? And so he was really good at buying stuff and selling stuff, and he was really good at getting a whole bunch of stuff, and he had great, cool things. It was so awesome, right? I remember I was at a Starbucks with him, and we were just hanging out and talking. I was like, dude, it's so cool, like seeing all these things. And I don't know what it was. I don't. Maybe it's something that kind of just came to him at that moment, and he was telling me, and he was like, yeah, I mean, like, it's cool. I love these things, and like, it's great. The stuff it makes me happy for a while, but it's like, but it kind of gets old, It's like, and then eventually, just kind of that feeling of excitement just fades. But he goes, but you know what doesn't get old? It's like when I share about those experiences I had with Jesus. And he goes, when I share with people, because it doesn't get old. It's like I relive it every time I share it. And I'm going, he's like, this experience of joy that when I share, it's like, that does not get old. I was just kind of like, oh, that's crazy. And like this young man able to kind of come to this conclusion on his own. And it's like, that stuff doesn't get old. My stuff gets old. The things I chase after other than that, it gets old, but Jesus doesn't get old. And I get it, man. I see that I might be saying these things, and everyone's kind of going, yeah, I mean, I know this. I get this. I don't think I need to really convince many people of this, especially if like you've been coming to church and you know Jesus, you've been walking with Jesus. You probably nod your head like, yeah, I know this. I know that. I don't need evidence that chasing things other than Jesus will let me know. I know this. Yet we still spend our strength, our energy, and our time chasing and chasing and chasing and chasing things that King Solomon reminds us in his book. God reminds us it's meaningless. It's vanity. How many of us here toil within our work, chasing for the next promotion, chasing to be seen at work, chasing to be affirmed by your boss? How many of us here are still chasing the next thing, the dream house or the dream car, saving up, looking, spending time and energy going, if I only had that, that would make me happy. A 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath, 2,000 square foot house, that would make me happy. That car that goes 0 to 60 in 4 seconds, that would make me happy. Is that even fast these days? I have no idea. We chase, right? We chase. Maybe it's chasing the next vacation. You just kind of hop from vacation to vacation. And you're like, I just can't wait for the next vacation. I just can't wait for the next vacation. And that's kind of what I live for. Or maybe you're chasing retirement. And I'm saving this money, so I can't wait till I get to 55 or 60 and I can retire. So I can live out my last 15 years of my life. Right? I'm going to spend 60 years of my life, so my last 15 would be great. Or last 20 or 25. Or maybe you're chasing a new gadget or stuff. Right? Next week, Apple is announcing a lot of new stuff. And you might can't wait. You're like, I can't wait for that keynote. Can't wait for the new phone. I can't wait for the new TV. I can't wait for this new stuff. It's like, I only had that. It would make me happy. Or maybe you're chasing the new fashion. Or maybe you're chasing for that college acceptance. If I only get into that college, that would make me happy. Or you're chasing for the better job. Or you're chasing for the grades. If I only had those B's. If I only had those A's. If I only got into that class, that would make me happy. Or you're chasing relationships. If I only had a girlfriend or a boyfriend, that would make me happy. If my parents only cared about me this way, that would make me happy. Or if my spouse only loved me this way or did this for me, that would make me happy. And we chase. And I'm not even making these things up. They're not even these arbitrary things. I've heard it from your own mouth. Church, we've done this. I've heard if I only had the new phone, that would make me happy. I've heard if I only had a boyfriend or a girlfriend, that would make me happy. I've heard all I need to do is put Jesus to the side for 4 years, focus on school, and once I get into that college, then that would make me happy. I've heard this, and we were reminded time and time again in 12 chapters in Ecclesiastes, meaningless, meaningless. It is all meaningless. It is vanity. Yet we still believe that if we obtain these things, we will finally be happy. We will finally get that joy. But we won't. We won't. And you know it. You know it and I know it. We won't. Yet we fall for the same trick every single time. Through our words, attitudes, or actions, we have loudly proclaimed, this is where my joy lies. We've done that. It's not in Christ, but it's in my circumstances. It's in my stuff. And we're reminded again this morning, something that we have already known. chasing anything or anyone other than Jesus will let you down. So we got to stop chasing that. We got to start chasing Jesus. Let's see how King Solomon finishes up this book. It says, "The end of the matter, all has been heard. Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. For God will bring every deed into judgment with every secret thing, whether good or evil." And so King Solomon goes right here. He's like, I wrote this whole book for you to get to this one point, and I'm going to mention this point again. This is what is not meaningless. This is what's not vanity. Fearing God. And what that looks like means to keep his commandments. He goes, in fact, that is what we're created to do. He says it is the whole duty of man. Actually, in the Hebrew, there isn't even the word duty. It's the whole of man. All of us. That is what we're created to do. That is what we're made to do. And so for us this morning, knowing what who Jesus is and what he has done for us, because this is what life worth living looks like. Chasing Jesus. And what that means is to love and fear him, which is demonstrated by keeping his commandments. Chasing Jesus, and what that means to love and fear him, is demonstrated by keeping his commandments. That's the next slide. And so a lot of us probably here are wondering, what does it mean to fear God? I think probably a lot of you are thinking this way, right? What does it mean to fear God? A lot of us, if you've been at church for a while, you've probably heard this. So you kind of know it's supposed to be a good thing, but you're not sure. If you've never been at church, and this might be your first couple of times, you might find this absolutely terrifying. We're supposed to fear God? And we've heard this. And you start thinking, all right, so there's a lot of things I love, and there's a lot of things I fear. And a lot of times they don't really go hand in hand. You know what I'm saying? Like, I fear spiders. Don't love them, I fear them. I hate them. I fear heights. I fear violent or mean people. Don't want to be near people that are very mean, or somebody who wants to punch me in the face all the time. Don't want to be near that person, right? You might fear your boss or your teacher, somebody with authority over you. And so a lot of times we might read this and we gotta think to ourselves, well, am I supposed to be afraid of God? Am I supposed to be so afraid of God, I'm just kind of like, I'm supposed to obey him? I mean, here I am, and now as a father, where God calls him our father. As a father, if I look at my daughter, Maddie, I don't want her to just listen to me because she's afraid of me. You know what I'm saying? I feel like what a terrible relationship would to have with my daughter. I know that's like, can you imagine? It's like, I'm so scared of you. I'll listen to you. Like, I don't want to talk to you. I just don't want to be I'll do what you say. I mean, that's a terrible relationship. I remember, so when the question, would you rather be feared or loved, was posed to Michael Scott, the boss on the TV show The Office, he replied, both. I want people to be afraid of how much they love me. maybe that's a little bit like Michael Scott, right? It's kind of weird. And maybe we go, I don't understand. How does fear and love go hand in hand? But when Scripture talks about how we should fear God, it's talking about how we should be in awe of God, being overwhelmed by his presence. His presence should elicit a deep emotional response, one of awe, wonder, amazement, and respect. Right? It's taking God seriously. That's what it means to fear God. This is why people feel nervous when they meet like the President of the United States. It's like that awe, that respect. It's the President. I remember when this was like maybe the summer of my junior year in high school. For you don't know, I grew up in a town called Sugar Land, Texas. It is a little bit outside of Houston, just one of the suburbs of Houston. It's So I can't quite remember. I'm pretty sure it was the junior year of high school. It was during the days. Some of you might be too young to remember this, but McDonald's used to have 29-cent hamburgers and 39-cent cheeseburgers, right? It was 29 cents on Tuesdays, 39 cents on Wednesdays. Still remember this. So incredibly cheap. So I remember I went to my local Sugarland McDonald's. It was during the summer because we were just hanging out, and we went there. So I'm assuming it was on a Wednesday because that's when the sale was. So I went there in Sugarland, Texas. Okay, I am in Texas. I walked in probably like at 11 or 10:30. 11. It was like late morning, late morning. And we were going to go to a friend's house. So I walked in. I'm looking down. I walk and I look down. I stand next to the counter. There's this man in front of me, and so I just stood there. And I'm just looking down, and he's ordering. I look down and go, man, this guy has big feet. And he's wearing these, I recognize those shoes. They're like some popular shoes. And then I kind of look up, and look up some more, and look up some more. Well, man, this guy's really tall. Look at his feet. Look at him. Do I know him? That's Shaq! What in the world is he doing in Sugarland, Texas? I'm going, that can't be. They just won the NBA Finals. He just won the NBA Finals with the LA Lakers. I'm looking at him like, is this what people do when they win the finals? They really celebrate? I guess maybe. So here I am, and I see him walk out. He's like, as he walks out, you see him kind of have to like duck underneath. And he's so tall. And so I go and I grab a paper. I run out. And then here he's walking with this white dude, and I'm assuming it's his agent, right? Because it's short white, he looks short because he's standing next to Shaq. He's walking to his Mercedes, and has this Florida license plate. I remember it said like Duncan or Slam or something like that, right? So he used to play for Magic. I'm like, that has to be. Who else is that tall wearing Shaq shoes, looking like Shaq? But, well, what are you doing in Texas, right? So I'm freaking out. I go there, I run over, and I'm like, I don't know, maybe like 50 feet away. I get there and I stop. And I'm trembling, and he stops and looks at me, and I just look at him. I'm trying to get an autograph here, right? I just kind of like, and I'm probably like, it's like where Daniel Chen is, okay? We're not that close, okay? And I stop, and I'm just shaking, I can't move any further. I don't have a pen on me, right? So what do I do? I go up there, like, hi, right? And then he just gets his car and leaves. And I sit down, and I have to get on the curb, like, I just missed Shaq. Right? I was scared out of my mind. And it wasn't because I was afraid of him. Like, it was not like he was going to hurt me. I was like, I'm next to an NBA basketball player. He just won the finals. He's a future Hall of Famer. I was just in complete awe of him. And that's a little bit kind of like what it is. That's what it means to fear God. Like you're in complete awe of him. Like, it's Jesus! That is amazing, right? Like, oh my gosh, it's Jesus! Like, this is my God right there. And it's like, this is what it means to be in awe of him. This is that respect. It's the awe. It's going, I am in his presence. It's awesome. I wouldn't trade that for the world because I wish you would sit down next to me and talk with me. Like, I'm not going, man, I can't wait for this to be over because I'm so scared of him. It's going, I wish I had more time with Shaq. How cool is that? And he's going, this is what it means to fear God, to be in awe of him, to be completely amazed. And this is what Solomon says, and this is what the scripture says. It says, this is what it means to fear God, to keep his commandments. Now imagine if Shaq decides, hey, you want to go play basketball? Sure, right? I would listen to anything he says. Even if he tried to teach me how to shoot free throws, I would listen to it, right? Because he's Shaq. Probably bad example. But I mean, this guy, that's what he does. He plays basketball. He knows so much more than me. He's experienced more than me. He has achieved the pinnacle of all basketball. Who am I to say, I don't know, man. I think you need to learn how to box out a little more. Get a little bit lower. I'm not going to give you any tips, right? Sure. I don't know how that dunk looks like. You might want to run that back shot, right? You know what? I'm not telling him what to do. If anything, I'm sitting here listening to him. There's probably not a single word that I'll say to him. Right? And so God's want, when you're in all of him, he's like, I'm listening, God. You got my attention. I am listening. God, I know how you should live. I give these commandments to you not to make your life miserable. This is the best way to live. I created you. I know you. I know the best way that you function. I know what will bring you the most joy. And that's why when we fear God, we keep his commandments. Because these commandments are not to make our life worse or ruin us. It's to show us and teach us how to actually live life more fulfilling in him. And we see this. We saw that from the beginning. We saw the relationship Adam and Eve had with God way back in Genesis. They feared God. But they had a close, intimate relationship with God. And until that day, they followed and listened to him, and they realized that it was a good thing. They were happy living in that relationship. Jesus is trying to restore us back to that. In John 14, we see Jesus mentioned multiple times, if you love me, you will keep my commandments. Verse 15, whoever has my commandments and keeps them, he it is who loves me. Verse 21, if anyone loves me, he will keep my word. And my Father will love him, and we will come and make our home with him. Verse 23. God created us to be in awe of him, to fear him, to keep his commandments. It's because of Jesus' sacrifice on the cross for our sins. We have no other choice but to respond with a greatness and gladness of our heart. See, that's the good news that we have. You see the last verse, it says, every deed will be brought into judgment, whether good or evil. Here's the good news that comes out of all of this. It's not the fear. We don't need to fear God, like be scared of the consequences anymore, because Jesus came and took those consequences for us. See, the consequences, God is still a just God, and he's still going to exact his judgment, but instead, Jesus comes and he goes, I will take those consequences. So he lived the life we could not live, died the death we deserve, so we can live a life with him eternally. And that is what Jesus offers us today, the ability to have those consequences to be taken away. So this fear and awe and following and listening and obeying God without condemnation, it becomes more free now. We can now freely love and chase after Jesus with a clean and new heart. And that life is not meaningless. That life is not meaningless. It's a life lived for Jesus now. That's a life worth living. So church, let us chase after Jesus with fear and obedience together. That will never be a meaningless way. Let's pray. King Jesus, I thank you so much for your word. I thank you for being our one shepherd. That you've shown us that there is a better way to live. And the life that all things we chase after are meaningless, Lord. It's vanity. What you tell us chasing after you is enough. So let us chase after you. We pray all this in your precious name.